Welcome back to the FireForge Leader Podcast. I am sure you're wondering who these new voices are, so let me introduce myself. My name is Dan. I am joined by my friend and co-host Brad.
Hey, how you doing?
So, for those of you who don't know us, we ran the Untaming Masculinity podcast, and it was a podcast where we tackled issues relevant to men and their journeys to reclaim their masculinity. And we've got some pretty good news. We are joining forces with Steve, and we're going to become part of the FireForge Leader family over here. So we'll be producing a regular podcast over here that deals with both masculinity, what problems men are dealing with, as well as leadership issues and how the two kind of are intertwined. So I figured this was just a good opportunity for Brad and I to introduce ourselves quickly before we get started on some great episodes. So Brad, why don't you kick it off and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Brad. A little bit about me is I'm a father of three. Been married on closing in on 12 years to a wonderful, strong, resilient woman. I work in the tech space. I'm a leader, manager within that space. Let's see. I'm located in just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. Was born and raised here, but my roots, my dad is from the East Coast. So as you'll soon find out, Dan and I have some banter relating to that. Ultimately, the reason I'm here today, when you think about what it means to be a man, right? When you think about masculinity, when you think about leadership, a lot of times we're given all these things without a handbook. You know, we're expected to lead, we're expected to preside over our families, but we don't exactly have framework how. And societally, we are conditioned to be weak, to be docile, to be almost submissive, if you will. And that was me. You know, I was a really nice guy. You know, I was the definition of nice guy. And it was impacting the way I was able to lead my family. It was impacting the way I was able to show up as a husband and a father. So it was impacting the way I was able to show up in my career. And I got tired of it. I got tired of being docile and not fulfilling my potential. So I started working on myself and poured into self-development, poured into becoming a better, more capable man. And it naturally wasn't easy, right? It wasn't like a light switch flipped and I was fixed. It took consistent, dedicated, focused work. And I noticed that as I continued to do that, I became a better man. And then what really helped me level up was surrounding myself with good men who made me want to be better, finding men who had the same objectives. One of those men happened to be Dan, sitting right here alongside me. And as I've gotten to know Dan and forge a friendship and a brotherhood with him, among some of our other really, really close friends, I noticed that my life and the trajectory of my life started to take off. In so much that I wanted to start to share some of those lessons and some of those things that I've learned along the way with others. Which just brought us here today.
Yeah.
How about you, Dan?
That's great. Yeah, so obviously I'm Dan. I am 45 years old, live on the sandbar known as Long Island, New York. I'm originally from the Boston area, so as Brad said, we share some common East Coast love and affinities. I tend to refer to myself as a preacher in a foreign land, as a Red Sox and Patriots fan living in Yankee and Jets territory. But married, just celebrated 20 years of marriage this year. Actually just took the family to Hawaii for the summer to celebrate that, and my twin girls turning 15. So it's a pretty big year for me. So the masculinity movement for me has always been something that it's something that I felt I never really fulfilled. You know, to Brad's point, like I didn't know how to be a man, right? I had a great dad, still have a great dad. You know, he was what I would call a man's man, but I never felt like I understood the journey from boyhood to manhood. And I got involved in this movement, got involved in exploring those traits, those masculinity traits. And I found that over the course of time, a big part of that is leadership. You know, like men need to be leaders, whether it's in your family, at work, in your community, wherever. Men need to lead. So I feel like this joining of forces between Untaming Masculinity and FireForge Leader is going to be really great in that sense that we get to explore that transfer of masculinity into leadership and how the roles kind of play off of each other. Personally, for me, I've been in leadership roles my entire life. For my career, I am a program manager at an aerospace defense company. I design safety equipment for military aircraft. And that, in conjunction with my other jobs in my past, have really led me into realms of leadership and understanding how I lead, but also how my masculinity helps me in that role. So really excited to kind of dive into that in the future here and bring those two things together. I'm not going to speak for Brad, but I'm really excited to work with Steve. He's a good friend. Anybody who gets to see us together knows that it's a constant joke fest between the three of us, but I think we get a lot of good stuff done, and we've got a lot of great ideas for what the future brings. So don't want to take too long here. Just wanted to jump on and introduce ourselves, say hi to all the listeners, tell you to be on the lookout for our podcast here, or our episodes within the FireForge Leader podcast, and just say that we're really excited to be here and to be serving you. Anything else to add, Brad?
No, I think you hit it. It's really exciting to be able to continue these levels of conversation, to be able to partner with Steve. Like, as Dan had said, Steve's a firecracker. He's a lot of fun, but he's also somebody you can have very deep, profound, thought-provoking conversations with. He knows how to lead men. He's done it for a long time. And the ability that he has to really share some of those leadership skills have obviously manifested themselves through FireForge Leader. And, there's this confluence in which men lead. Men lead in their homes. Men lead at work. Men lead in their communities. We don't always know how to go about doing it, right? So our end goal with this is to really help men understand, one, how to reclaim their masculinity, two, how to do so and to be effective leaders. So we're really excited to be here.
That's great. All right. I think that's a great place to end it. We look forward to joining you guys in the future. And for the time being, we'll leave you with our classic tagline. What are you doing to untame your masculinity?